What's up, everybody? It's Connor from Unscripted, back again with another video. In today's video, we are talking about yesterday's CDL matches from the final day of the Paris home series, and as always, we are doing things off the script. Before we hop into the video, don't forget to leave a like down below if you enjoy, leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the matches, and subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying the content and looking for more of it in your subscriber box. I appreciate it all. I have a May goal for the month of not missing a single day of uploads, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I hope you guys are looking forward to it too. If you enjoy that, like I said, I appreciate all the support on the channel. It means a lot to me and helps me keep going and doing this. So I appreciate it, and let's hop into the video. So for starters, we're actually going to start with what was the last match of the day because it was definitely the most interesting with the most storylines coming out of it. We have OpTic versus LA Thieves. We kicked things off with a hard point on checkmate, which was interesting because OpTic really good at checkmate. Hardpoint had not lost it yet. LA Thieves playing very well on that map as well. So it was like you thought maybe LA Thieves would veto that map because of how good OpTic is, but they thought, nope, it's our strength too. We're gonna go head to head on it. And LA Thieves took it to them. They got up really big early. Ended up being OpTic made it close before falling. I think it was 250 to 195, maybe 205. I think it was 205, somewhere in there. So it was a close map. But LA Thieves, they had it. We moved on to an express search, which OpTic took pretty easily. And here is the biggest storyline potentially from this game was Dashy and the Fafar. I mean, he was snapping with this thing. People were teasing about him using it, for a while now. After the last update, we finally get to see it, and he was just frying with it. I think he had maybe 12 or 13 kills. Scump went off as well. He had an ace in the last round of the map to finish 11-4 for the map. So big performances from both Dashy and Scump as OpTic tied the series up 1-1. Here is, the memes were flowing with Dashy's Fafar. Here's one about Krim sending the GA text in the group chat about the Fafar when he was watching Dashy. I thought that was really funny. There was a bunch of funny ones, and just everyone was saying about, how good Dashy looked with that gun. I wonder if it's going to become meta for more other players. I don't know, because the gun does have recoil that you have to really be good at controlling, and Dashy does have, one of the best shots ever. But I'm sure some other guys might at least give it a try after seeing the potential it has, as long as it's used correctly. So we might see more of it, who knows. Moved over to the raid control, and this was a big play here from Kenny. So LA Thieves was up 1-0. They won their offense. OpTic's offense, they were in a really good spot to win it here. They had, I think, OpTic might have had 3 dead. No, I'm wrong. So they only had 1 dead, but Envoy was in the point, and they had their map positioning was pretty good, looking like they had a good chance to get this point. And then Kenny, you see 3 in the kill feed there, and trades out Envoy. He gets all 4. So that was a buzz kill for OpTic. It pretty much ended up being the nail in the coffin for them in this map, actually, because you'll see. I'll let this play out. Kenny, he goes on, he gets back into the garage, and he ends up killing more. I think he ends this round on like a 10 overall kill streak. So he obviously got streaks with that here. I think he's about to earn his first one at some point. Someone's going to push him back garage here, and he'll pick them up. So there's his artillery, which ended up being a very important artillery. He gets the cruise missile here as well, but that actually wasn't important because it kind of wasted it. So OpTic ended up making it 2-2 after the next 2 rounds, and they won both offenses, so they actually ended up getting defense for round 5. So you thought, okay, they might end up bringing this thing all the way back. But then Kenny's artillery that he got there ended up being really important because he got a 2-piece with it. It allowed LA to get into the B point, stack it pretty easily, and win the match, or the map. So it was big. It was a big streak for him. This play here was important. Not only did it shut OpTic down in this round, but it also provided the streak that ended up shutting OpTic down to win the map for LA Thieves. So that was a really, really big play, really big sequence here from Kenny to help his team get the dub. LA Thieves ended up closing it out pretty comfortably on the Apocalypse hard point. OpTic barely broke 100 points, if they broke it at all. I'm not sure. So LA smoked him pretty good there. Here are the stats for the series. Dashy leading the way for OpTic with the +13, but beyond that, not much. Formal, it was a really bad series for him. One of his worst series of the season, I would say. He's been, pretty good, especially in stage 3. He's been really solid, but that was definitely a down match for him. On the LA side of things, same 2 as usual. Kenny, of course, leading the way. He's been one of the best players in the game since switching over to that main AR position. I say that with quotes because it's really the same thing that the Flex AR does in this game, but he's been playing really well. His KD has been absurd. Again, in this one, over 15.5k damage. Draza as well, playing well. Probably their second best player right now. Their AR duo is really good, and then their SMG duo, not quite the same, but still playing well nonetheless. Everybody playing well. They're all clicking, and they get a big win over OpTic Chicago. They move into first place in their group as well, as we'll see later. We will move on to what was the second match of the day, Toronto Ultra versus the ROKKR. So the ROKKR came out and they won the opening hardpoint. That was promising for them because you thought maybe they could compete with Toronto on search. That was not the case. Here you see ended up being 6-1 in favor of the Ultra on the checkmate search. Insight had a really nice 1v3 in that round 7 to end the map. I know he killed Attach and Standy for sure, and I can't remember if it was Accuracy or Priesthood who was the other one included, but really nice play from him. He went 8-4. Cammy went 8-2. Cammy had a really nice series. They all played well, so they ended up tying the series 1-1. They ended up taking the control. Minnesota choked the control hard. They were up 2-0 on Garrison control. Ended up losing 3 straight rounds to fall 2-1 in the series, and that kind of felt like it was the nail in their coffin because even if they were able to win the next hardpoint, they probably were not favored in the Game 5 search, but then it didn't matter because Toronto came out and took it to them in the hardpoint, and they won the series 3-1 anyway. So like I said, Cammy played it phenomenal, 1.34 with the plus 22 and 16.4k damage. He had like over 6,000 damage just in the control alone. A really, really nice series from him. Insight played well as he always does. For the Minnesota boys, it was Attached. He was kind of left out alone here. The 1.19 KD, he played well. I think he was positive in every map except maybe the final hardpoint. Standy was barely positive, but Accuracy and Priesta, not so good for them. I think now, the dust has settled a little bit on that roster move they made, and I do think that, it definitely made them a better team, but not to the degree that we thought it was. When they dropped Major Maniac and brought in Standy, they rattled off 3 wins in a row to close out the group stage and finish first in their group in the last stage, in stage 2, and they really didn't do much after that. They kind of slowed down a good bit since then. They're still I say they're like the second tier of teams, maybe even the third tier, so it's not like they're horrible. They're going to make champs, but, that roster move, looking back now, it didn't make them quite as good as we once thought it was when they came out so hot. It was just their honeymoon phase. It has ended now, and they're just a middle-of-the-pack team, the kind of the way they were before they dropped Major Maniac or benched him in the first place. So that's that. Then we move over finally to the first map of the day, was the Paris Legion versus the Florida Mutineers. Paris in desperate need of a win. They came out firing on the Garrison hardpoint, and they got their first win of the map, or of the match, to go up 1-0. Neptune, he was the standout player for Florida in this one. And then on the Paris Legion side of things, it was Aqua. He made some big plays, 5,800 damage, +7, and some really nice plays, holding some hard points in the process. Scraps, who has been Paris' best, most consistent player this year, struggled on this one, but that is okay because they got the win. They ended up losing the search pretty on Moscow. It was like 6-4, 6-3 maybe. And then they did take the control on Raid. That was a pretty good map. Scraps made a big play to seal that win for them. And then they ended up closing it out on the Moscow hardpoint, which we had some connection issues, which of course we did. We cannot get through a series, it seems, without connection or server issues. So Neptune's internet went out in this one, and it was actually in that final hardpoint where they were down about 60 points or so when he lagged out, and you thought maybe they would reset and replay, but that was not the case. They made him finish out 4-3. Obviously, they didn't score many points after that. They fell in the series. They closed it out 3-1. So just another example of something that wouldn't have happened on LAN happening in the online COD. It's so frustrating to watch, and everybody can't wait to get LAN back. This is just awful anymore. It seems every single series there's a map reset, or there's a delay for the servers, or somebody lags out. It's just constant, and it's so frustrating to watch. And unfortunately, Activision, even in the future when COVID is not a thing, does not seem very high on having all these LANs. So hopefully that changes after seeing the problems we've been having with this online COD. Anyway, here are the stats. Like I was saying, Aqua, he definitely led the way for Paris in this one, finished +15 with the second most damage on the team. On the Florida side of things, Awakening, even when he's negative, he still puts up the most damage in the lobby. Guy's just a damage machine. Neptune played really well this series. Havoc, though, I think it's not too early anymore. From the beginning I was saying this, but now you can't even say it's too early. Havoc was simply a lateral move from Slack. That's all that was. He did not make the team any better. Those rumors we talked about yesterday with Hook potentially going to Florida, I think they have to happen. Florida is in clear need of another SMG to pair alongside Neptune, who is starting to get, the potential was there early in the year, but the production maybe was a little below where the potential was, but now the production's there too. He's playing really well. He needs a solid SMG to pair with him, someone who knows the game really well, can't get a much better option than Hook. So I think they have to go all in on Hook, and we'll see what happens there. Here's just the Aqua player of the match. He played really well in this series. Good for him. So Paris got their big win, and all of a sudden they're on the heels a little bit of the two teams above them. So the top 7, the top 8 go to champs, and the top 7 are clearly separating themselves a little bit. You have FaZe, of course, still 1. Dallas still hanging on at 2. Ultra now past OpTic in New York. They seem like they're a little bit behind Dallas, but it feels like it won't be long until they pass Dallas, but we'll see. LA Thieves now at 6 and Minnesota at 7. Then there's, basically everybody else fighting for that final champ spot. Right now it's LAG, but Florida right behind them and Paris right behind Florida. So who knows how it's going to go, but that was a big win for Paris. If they can get some consistency going, they still do have a shot to make champs. It's going to depend how it goes, though. I think if Florida gets Hook, I think they will definitely take that 8th spot, in my opinion. I think that just makes them a really, really solid team, and it raises their ceiling and their floor quite a bit. So I think it'll be Florida, but we'll have to see how it goes. If they don't make that change and they keep Havoc in there, then maybe not, but we will see how that goes. And then here are the current group standings for the stage. I can't believe I ever thought that Group A was the better group. I mean, look at this. They probably will have their 3 seed. It wouldn't surprise me to see their 3 seed being 2 and 3, whereas on the Group B side of things, 3 and 2 might end up being the losers bracket. So tough ones for OpTic next week. They really have to win at least one of them. They played New York and FaZe, so they can still be in the losers bracket despite starting 2-0. LA Thieves looking pretty comfortable for a winners bracket spot. They have, I think, New York next week, so even if they lose, I think they'll be good, but it depends how the tiebreakers play out. But regardless, it's a 4-man race, and one of them will be the odd team out, and that's the way it goes sometimes in this. So that's going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like down below, a comment as well with your thoughts on the video, and subscribe to the channel as well if you enjoyed. I appreciate all of that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good day today, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.